Most people have no idea that I was raised in a cult, a Christian cult. I really was in a cult, and it literally destroyed friendships. Yeah, it literally shaped how I viewed dating. It shaped how I viewed women. It shaped how I viewed everything, y'all. I'm talking about literally everything. I saw somebody with tattoos, I would literally think like, yeah, they're going to hell. And I'm just kind of like, Mom, but you're tripping. Like you realize like you're throwing your faith away. Like you're going to, like in my head, I'm like, bro, she's going to hell, bro. Like my mom's cooked. You don't even realize you're in a cult until you realize you're in a cult. What's up, y'all? Back with another video, another journal entry. Most people really have no idea that this was even something that I was in. Most people have no idea that I was raised in a cult, a Christian cult. And it definitely shaped my whole entire life and how I viewed people, how I interacted with friends, how I moved through school, how I viewed God, how I viewed my relationship with God. This is like basically just like the beginning of like everything. Like I literally was raised in a cult since birth. My dad was a pastor in this cult. It's a cult that some of y'all may know. It's called The Message. And it was basically a cult that we believed that there was a man, there was a prophet named Brother Branham. And we believed that he was just like the end all be all when it came to like, if you had a question about something that you didn't understand or like, you know, you're struggling with your faith, like we would be like, oh, read Brother Branham's books and tapes or read this book or listen to this tape, whatever the case is. And the crazy thing about it is I was obviously born into it. My dad, he was a pastor in this cult, and literally I attended church basically every day of my life, every day. Like not every day, but every Sunday. But yeah, I was a PK kid. Crazy thing is though, like you don't even realize you're in a cult until you realize you're in a cult. So like again, I was raised in this cult, and my mom, my dad, my brother, my little sister, like we were all in this cult, and we have no idea. And basically, some of the things that we were doing in the cult, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, looking back on it, it's like, bro, like it was just honestly so sad how we viewed other people that weren't in what we believed was like the right way to believe in God or the right way to do things, and that everybody else is basically lost, going to hell, all types of stuff. It literally shaped how I even viewed women or viewed girls. It shaped everything. And it really just like looking back on it, I realized I'm like, dang, bro, like I was cooked. Like I was actually cooked, bro. Like it was so bad. And just to kind of start it off, like literally growing up in school, my little sister and my mom, I never seen them wear pants a day in my life. They never cut their hair. They never like really wore makeup like that. I don't even think they didn't have earrings, anything like that. And don't get me wrong, I know like some of that can kind of maybe like, oh, that's Pentecostal, but like no, like when I tell you it was so legalistic to the point where I will go outside as I got older, I hit puberty and stuff, and I'm in school, maybe there's a girl I have a crush on or whatever the case, I think a girl's cute. Kids, y'all not. The first thing that goes to my mind is like, oh man, like she's wearing pants, like, but she like say she's actually a sweet girl, she's cool, we become friends. This happened actually a lot for me. Like I would have maybe a girl I had a crush on, whatever the case is, but because of the cult, I would literally think of her like, okay, like say she's a Christian, and I played sports in school, so maybe have like fellowship of Christian athletes, all this type of stuff. Say there's a girl that I think is attractive, whatever the case is, and we become friends, and then I know she's a Christian, or maybe she's in sports. But knowing that she's in sports, I know that she doesn't. She wears pants, she wears shorts, she wears tight, whatever the case is. Like it was so bad that I knew for a fact that I couldn't talk to her. That's how bad it was. Like I literally knew, I was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. Like I'm not even gonna try to initiate or like even try to go after anything further than their friendship. And that's how it was literally up until the age of like 20. Actually, I'll say probably to the age of like 20. Like when I got to college, that's when I got to college and I got away from living at home and going to church every day or going to church back at home. That's when I kind of started like having that freedom to like just kind of begin a little bit thinking for myself, or just kind of like be a little bit, I guess you could say, rebellious to the cult. But in reality, it was just me realizing like, okay, like let me just not be so, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah, it literally shaped how I viewed dating. It shaped how I viewed women. It shaped how I viewed everything, y'all. I'm talking about literally everything. I saw somebody with tattoos, I would literally think like, yeah, they're going to hell. Like, but I'm not even saying that in this is like, oh yeah, you're going, like, no, like it was a legitimate like, dang, bro, I feel so sorry for them. Like, man, like they're so lost. If only they knew about Brother Branham, if only they knew about, you know, what we know, you know what I'm saying? Because we believe that Brother Branham was this prophet that, you know, he was like the prophecy of Malachi for all this other stuff. And we believed that like basically like, I'm telling y'all, anything that I had a question about, anything that I was like maybe struggling with, I would literally be told by my dad. He'd be like, yeah, you know, read this in the books and tapes. Read this in the books and tapes. It was never go to the Bible. which should have been the first telltale sign. But yeah, it was never go to the Bible. It was never like, read the word, pray on this. And also I would say, I think, and by God's grace, I think it was just one of those things where you realize like, man, like if you don't read for yourself, which would happen to us, I didn't read the Bible for myself for real. I would always just listen to whatever my dad was telling us. I would listen to whatever people were telling us in the cult. And you would always be discouraged from asking any questions. You'd be discouraged from just like thinking for yourself, or be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't mom and them wear pants? Or why? Well, because Brother Branham says so. Look what the scripture says. Like, they would literally manipulate the scripture to basically back everything that maybe a man wanted, or back everything that like the pastor felt like he wanted. In reality, like these pastors were doing some sick stuff, bro. When I'm talking about money laundering schemes, all types of just crazy things, like it was so bad, bro. It was so bad. And it basically, like I said, it just shaped my whole entire like childhood. And it was one of those things where now that I gotten older, I look back and I'm like, dang, like I really was in a cult, and it literally destroyed friendships. I remember I had a good friendship with one of my friends, and I remember like just us being so legalistic. He would pull up playing his music, and it wasn't Christian music or whatever the case is. It was like to the point where my dad was like, you need to cut him off. He shouldn't be playing that rap or whatever the case is. Now keep in mind, this dude was actually, he was a good friend, like he was a good guy, but it got to the point where I was like cutting people off just so sharp because of, oh yeah, you listen to that, or oh, you're wearing pants, or oh, you're doing, like it was so damaging to my life, where I was like, bro, like what is this, you know what I'm saying? But we couldn't really ask no questions. And luckily though, I will say, me being that low-key rebellious kid, I low-key was still kicking it with people that was like, you know what I'm saying, like I was low-key like, when it was just me and I was able to do what I had to do, I low-key was like, I'm not going to trip on it too hard. But yeah, like it literally shaped everything for my life. It literally shaped how I viewed just like everything. And the saddest part about it was when I got to college, there was like, obviously like Christian groups and whatever the case is you can be a part of. I would literally be scared to join them because we technically didn't believe like them. And those churches could have been like, for example, I went to Georgia Southern University. We had a campus ministry called Crew, and they was like, I don't think they were even denominational. They might have been like Baptist or something like that. I was like nervous being in there. I was scared and just like also confused. Didn't really feel like I was a part of what they had going on, even though there were some really good people in there. But because I was so judgmental, it like just warped everything that I thought. I was like, man, if only they knew. They don't know. They're not the elect. They don't know, man. Brother Brand, like it was so bad. Like it was just so bad. And it basically just isolated me from like everything. It isolated me from people, isolated me from relationships and friendships, all types of things. And it cooked me, bro. Like I'm realizing now, like not even just now, but obviously like I'm gonna get into it too, but like I just realized like, bro, like what? By the grace of God, the only way we got out of this cult was because when I was in college, I was in my third year. I graduated college early in an accident. I was in my third year, and my parents were going through a very hard time. My parents were married for 25 years, and whatever the case is, I used to always know things were off in their marriage or whatever, like, they had their situations, but I could tell my mom was just kind of just trying to stay in it for us. And so eventually, yeah, like I said, I was in my last semester. I'm trying to graduate. My parents are going through a hard time in their marriage, and my mom is, talking about like she's looking to get divorced because my dad was just doing all types of crazy things, bro. And I remember just kind of like, I don't even know. I was like very happy. I knew the stuff that my dad was doing was not okay. And I just knew how he was. And I could only imagine the things that she was dealing with or taking on that nobody knew about. And I was just like, so I was on board with it. But what I will say is though, is like, since when they, were going through the hard time, my mom's mom passed away. She got really sick. She got cancer during that time. When my mom's mom passed away, my mom and dad got into a really bad fight. They got divorced, XYZ. Fast forward, I graduated college. My parents were divorced. I moved back home to my mom's house. I'm working from home. I had my agency job or corporate job. And then I know my mom starts kind of just like questioning everything. Her mom just passed away. She just got divorced. And then she starts questioning her beliefs in this cult. And then from there, she just starts kind of talking to me about it. It's like, Christian, I think you should look into this because like this doesn't make sense. She starts really just questioning her faith. And for me at the time, I'm still technically in the cult. At this time, I'm like 21 and I'm still in the cult. And the funny thing is, at this time, the person I was dating, she wasn't in the cult, but I was trying to convince her like, yeah, you should probably start wearing skirts. You shouldn't wear pants no more. That's how it was. Like it was that bad. Like it was so bad. And then, so eventually one day, like my mom just kind of like just really was like, okay, like I think you should really look into this, Christian. There's some things I'm doing research on. And it's like really showing me, I think what we're believing is not what we think it is. And this one, she started kind of just challenging me in a sense, but not too hard. Like, but I was kind of like going against her. I'm like, Mom, you don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't be questioning things, because that's how I was raised in the cult, not to question stuff. And I'm like, you shouldn't be questioning things, you know, that like what the prophet said, Brother Branham said this, da da da. He's not even like the prophet. They were claiming him to be the prophet of the prophecy of Malachi 4. You can look it up what the prophecy of Malachi 4 was, but that was fulfilled through John the Baptist. Jesus literally told him that, whatever the case is. So one night, my mom literally tells me, say, Christian, I'm going to wear pants tomorrow. Don't be surprised. And I was like, what? You're gonna wear pants tomorrow? So she was just like, yeah, I need a change. I need something to change. Like, I need a change in my life. Like, I need something, like, cause, you know, everything's going on right now. Obviously, I just got divorced. I also just, you know, lost my mom. And I'm just kind of like, Mom, but you're tripping. Like, you realize, like, you're throwing your faith away. Like, you're going to, like, in my head, I'm like, bro, she's going to hell, bro. Like, my mom's cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally how I'm thinking. Eventually, like I said, the next day, she literally was wearing pants. I've never seen my mom wear pants in my life, bro. In my life. At this point, I'm 21 years old. I'm 25 now. I've never seen my mom wear pants. Think about that. I've seen her wear like maybe like pants or something in the house. Never like wear pants or jeans outside the house. Always been skirts, long skirts. Basically, they used to be like tease my sister and them talking about like they have no knees or whatever the case is, because all they wear was skirts. But yes, bro. Eventually, she wears it. We have another conversation, and then it's revealed to me because she tells me it was a video she watched, and it basically just debunks the whole cult. And it's in the book of Matthew. Like I said, Jesus tells them that John the Baptist was the one to come from like the prophecy of Malachi 4. And it literally, I would have known that if I would have read my Bible. And that's how I got the cult. It was crazy. But yeah, just like, yeah, it being that cult literally just changed my whole life, bro. And then when I got out of the cult, I started going to church in the area that I was in. Went to the church called Hope Church. If you know Hope Church in Warner Robins, Georgia, bro, like that was my first time going to a church that was not part of the cult. And when I tell you, it changed my life, bro. Like it literally changed my life. Like I started viewing my relationship with God differently. Everything changed and just like in the most beautiful way. I feel like I was literally set free and I literally was living a whole new life. Even to this day, I feel like I'm still like, wow, like I'm really out of the cult. But yeah, no, it was crazy, bro. It was actually crazy. And yeah, it was wild. But y'all, us hitting 1K so fast has been insane. I just appreciate all the love and support and just everything y'all been just like showering me with. And I'm just eternally grateful, bro. Like I can't even explain to y'all how grateful I am and just humbled and just everything. Like it was wild. It is still wild. Like everything happening so fast is still wild. So anyways, I love you guys. I'll see y'all in the next video as usual. And I'm going to continue just opening up and just kind of telling my life story. You know what I'm saying? Just telling my life story and just using this as my video diary. But yeah, I was raised in a cult and most people had no idea. I'll see y'all in the next video. Ugh.